I told you skiing in the Andes would be fun, Scott. What do you think?
I think I'm freezing.
Welcome back to Retro Wednesday at the Tidarium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the 1986 Kidder Mask Adventure Packs. Now, these are separate figures that were sold back in the day that didn't come with vehicles, so they were sold separately on cardbacks, and they were included with some adventure pack weapons, accessories, and something different. We'll go into each one of these and talk about them, then we're going to talk a little bit about the future with the European releases. This is more or less Wave 1. European releases could be considered a Wave 2. And a little bit of fun on Retro Wednesday coming up. Okay, before we get into this, I want to show that this background is something from this mask color forums. It's a color forums, and it's something you can find them on eBay for like 30 bucks. It's nothing really all that special, but when I was looking at this, I noticed that it had the matte tracker for the jungle, and then we have the Venom's Revenge. We have those in here. You're supposed to like stick it on there. They don't cling on like they used to, but still kind of a fun background for the video. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the Jungle Challenge. This is the Wilderness Adventure Pack. It comes with matte tracker and the mask of the Arrow mask, which pretends to shoot thunderbolts. Now, he comes with a few things, and we'll get into kind of what it comes with and then functionality, but it comes with these small binoculars, which don't fit around his neck very well if he's got his mask/helmet on, and so there's that issue. You could probably put it on his arm like this, but that looks more like a purse, so I don't know. I don't know what the point of that was. I'm not sure if maybe you can have him hold it. And yep, he can kind of hold it. So with that, it's kind of a silly accessory. And the weird part is that I've had these for like a decade, and over a decade. And this was in with it when the seller sold it to me. And I thought it was part of it all this time until I looked up just recently to see what parts go with it. And then also he comes with this crossbow, and it just simply clips onto his arm. Nice and simple. Now these smaller pieces are the ones that are harder to lose, and although those are hard to lose, but his mask is not, that's kind of strange. And then he also comes with what they call the utility belt. It's not a bat utility belt, it's just a regular utility belt, and you have a canteen on there, a knife, and some other stuff going on in the back there. And then his backpack's a rocket jetpack, and it lets Matt Tracker fly through the jungle. And there it goes, that opens it up. There is the jetpack for him, and there's his face and his costume. Now we're going to get into his costume and his look and all that, but he also comes with one last thing, and it is a grappling hook. So he can grapple onto something, and let's kind of see what we can do with that. And maybe you can have him dangle from an Omega Supreme or something like that. That would be fun. And he'll lose all accessories doing it. Alright, so if you strip him down to his core basic unit here, then the figure itself is just a repaint of the Thunderhawk matte tracker. So that is kind of a clever repaint, and the figure itself is extremely common, and matte tracker from Thunderhawk's pretty common too. So these figures were also sold in accessory packs, not accessory packs, but 2 packs separately. Now I'm not really going to get into all that today, but with that, this is the Jungle Challenge. So next we have Venom's Revenge. This is Miles Mayhem of Venom with the Ripper mask, which pretends to shred metal. Now I'm going to go through the accessories real quick on him. I had all of these as a kid, by the way, so I remember so much of this and lots of fond memories. But his backpack is called the Personal Jet Thrust Transporter, and you push that down and it opens up these wings on the side and the jetpack piece over there. He does have some hoses. They call that fuel transport hose plug into the jet thrust transporter to provide power for sophisticated weaponry. So this is the sophisticated weaponry we have right here, which is just a molded gray gun. And then Fang missiles attached to the transporter wings or pyro cannons for added power. So these are the Fang missiles, and those are pyro cannons, and so that's what that does. Now they do a whole lot more than just this, but we're going to see a little bit more out of this here in just a bit. But that is the whole gist of this guy and kind of what he does. And let's go ahead and bring another one in. I have another one here just for fun because I don't want to disconnect those hoses. And so what we're going to do is we're going to show that when you pop this down, you can put one of these on his backpack right here. So now I learned this just recently from John at the Super Awesome Geek Show, was showing that this backpack does a whole bunch of stuff. So, but reading this card back shows me that it's supposed to clip onto here like this, and it does. So that's where you can put those if they can stay, which as you can see, that's why that gets lost. Now, if you notice right here, we have the pattern of a tab and a hole and a tab and a hole and a tab and a hole here. And so you can plug that in. And then if you had two of them just opposite directions and plug it on the other side, and you can have a thruster right there like that, if that's something that you want to do. So now when you strip all his gear off, he's nothing more than a repaint of the first Miles Mayhem version 1.0. And there we go. And just a recolor, so not really a big deal, nothing too special about them, but different color. It was kind of fun as a kid to get Miles Mayhem again. Also, this is kind of fun. You get the exact same figure if maybe your parents didn't pony up whatever crazy price point that it was for back in the 80s. And some of these are cheap. Not cheap. The figure 2-packs were like $4 each back in the day. I saw a price tag not too long ago for a Walmart price tag, $3.99 for a 2-pack of figures, $2 a figure. Back in the 80s was quite a bit for this size figure. Okay, so next up we have something called Rescue Mission. This is Bruce Soto of Mask with Grasshopper Mask, and which pretends to allow him to leap amazing distances. And well, he can leap amazing distances and he can keep it going with his helicopter spinning. And so this does a couple of things. Now, the backpack doubles as a radio with a generator. So it is a radio and a generator. It also doubles as helping kind of hold that in place, the propeller arm and the pulley mechanism. But let's see what else it says. It says ravine spanning comes in handy in a tight spot. So that's what this is for, ravine spanning. And we will do some ravine spanning. And then grappling hooks and tether allow Bruce Soto to slide to anyone's rescue. So that's another rescue mechanism that he has, and it does make a little top heavy when you have his helicopter blades on there. Then skids detach from feet and form rotor blades on ravine spanner, and then the grappling launcher attaches to his arm. So here's his grappling launcher, attaches to his arm. So he's got quite a bit of stuff going on. Now, next thing I want to do is show that I always thought, as a kid, I thought this was so clever that, and I pretty much thought all of Mask was clever back in the day. And so you can disassemble this, and although they're made exactly the same, they've got these two holes in there. One hole is to accept this, and then the other hole is to plug in. And so you plug them in like this, and then that center hole will plug into the top of this, and it works, and it holds together really well. It doesn't spin very well, but it holds together well. Now, with that, the tab also doubles as his ski right here, and if you had some extras, which I probably will eventually, I don't have a lot of, I've got one extra, but I will eventually get one more extra, so I can have him with skis and the helicopter at the same time, which makes no sense. It's asinine, but it's something that I'd like to do. So that's kind of fun. He could ski down a slope if that's something he wanted to do. All right, so I knew I should have saved this one for last. I had to change up everything, but we got Miles Mayhem over here minding his own business, just coming up with another plot that's going to fail. And then here comes Bruce Soto, and it worked a second ago. Okay, come on. You got to get it underneath. Boom. And it works. Okay, so this is just a simple repaint of the Bruce Soto that came with the Rhino. And so when you look at this and see a repaint, they just look so different because the way the paint apps were applied are different applications in different places. As in, he had some blue accents here where this is all just gray. And so that probably carries over in more places than just that. But that's the only thing I really noticed different other than colors. So anyhow, just kind of interesting to see which figure they repainted. Okay, so the last one we have today is called Coastal Patrol, and when I saw this color forms, I kind of thought, this kind of would look kind of cool if there was a way I could have sit on there. But yeah, that doesn't really work, but it does kind of give a nice little look to it. And so with that, this one is probably going to be the hardest one to get complete because of the little fins that are on it. And I bet you 90% of people think they go to G.I. Joe. And so I wonder if you troll through G.I. Joe lots, if you find them in there. The true Joe fanatics know it's not. But the average person, the average Joe, probably wouldn't know that. Anyhow, let's see what all he comes with. This is Matte Tracker of Mask with Dolphin Mask, which pretends to emit sonic signals. So, sonic signals from Dolphin. It comes with the Hyper Proton Torpedoes that can be activated from the launching slides. Launching slides right here. And then there's also the Anchor, which I thought it was a grapple, but it says it's an anchor. So he's going to drop his anchor. I do not think it floats, but it might. No, it shouldn't float. No, there's no floating of this thing. I didn't even test it to see if it floats. The other thing is flippers attached to the figure's feet, which it does. There's really no other place to put it, which is why kids lose them. And then there is the Marine Accelerator pivots to become laser cannon. So what I didn't know that as a kid. I didn't read my card back, I guess. And then it turns into a laser cannon. I actually, as a kid, thought this was the lamest one of all of them. And I never, I didn't really care about it that much. But it'd be interesting to find out if my fins survived. But let's get into looking at the functions here, which aren't really that many. So the way this works, this is basically a friction-based launching system. And since I don't have any extras of these, I got to be careful, but that's how that's supposed to work. Oh no. Where'd it go? It's actually right here. Okay. Now these actually aren't that expensive to track down if you lose one, so just a pain in the butt. I bet you shipping's more than the price of the item, but we will get into cost here in just a little bit on these things. Now, the figure itself and his helmet, since there's not a whole lot with this guy to do, we can get right into comparing him to what he is a recolor of, and that's the Rhino version of Matte Tracker. So, pointing out the obvious too, in these accessory packs, there's two versions of Matte Tracker. And in the European ones, we get another Miles Mayhem. So, would have been nicer to have more variety of characters. But this is another opportunity to get the main character again. And if you already have this one, then you can also get this one. And then you can get this one. And okay. Well, the main character, you always want at least one, if not four. But, yeah, there it goes. Lots of Matte Trackers. Alright, so let's talk about price on these right here. Okay, so when I collected these 10 or 12 years ago, nobody wanted these, nobody cared about these, and every time I bought a lot, something of this was mixed in. A figure, a helmet, a backpack, a part, and sometimes they just threw in complete ones, just because, or what I thought was complete at the time, and I just kept them, held on to them, I didn't care about them either. But as time went on and you complete a mask collection, you start looking at, okay, well, I'm not really complete because I don't have these complete. So I had to pick up a part or two to finish them out. But I've seen them all sell complete for under $30 in the past month. But that doesn't mean they're all always available for that. So they're not really that expensive, but you got to watch out for like the flippers, original hoses, the little red missiles right there. His grappling hook thing seems to be hard. This grapple here, his goggles, maybe that spear gun, but with that though, they're not super expensive, but when it comes to these, the next wave of them is probably outside of the realm of collecting. It was for me for a long time. Okay, so I'm not going to go over these today, but I just kind of want to show this is the European versions, what we might want to call Wave 2. But I have a friend that's going to help me get the rest of those parts, and so when I get those, I will be doing a follow-up video with the remainder, so I'll just call it Wave 2 or Part 2. But also in Argentina, there's a whole other slew of different ones that came out down there in South America. And so with that, you've got some strange stuff that's something along the lines of the jackhammer, just the top section of the jackhammer. That is a whole thing. It's cool, it's interesting, and they just manufactured the top of jackhammer and recolored it, put it into kind of a rock or something, and that was interesting. And then another one is slingshot. So they did one with a slingshot and just recolored the driver and the helmet and the slingshot and put it in a rock. So I mean, it's just interesting stuff that's out there. That stuff is ridiculously expensive outside of my price range, but it's still fun to look at. So I hope you enjoy this look at the first set of the adventure packs from the 1986 Kinder Mask toy line, and they're a little bit of fun. I have a lot of fond memories of them from when I was a kid, and I have a deeper appreciation for them now than I did like 10 years ago. But anyhow, really kind of fun. A little bit harder to track down now than they used to be, but still not impossible. But let me know what you think about these in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Teddy Arm Hanger, Alan.
Lost cities, lost guides. What's next? What the? Venom.
Bruce Sato, mechanical engineer and design specialist. Vehicle code name Rhino.
This isn't my idea of rock and roll. Lift up.
What now, Mayhem? Back to the Lost City?
Back to base for repairs.